and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you. The good people of the tube. Hope you are today. Hope you are feeling grand and all is well in your world, everybody. Hi, everybody. So that was a lot of everybody's, but anyway, hi. Welcome to the A&Q Wednesday, everybody. Today's vid is brought to you by Frosties because I forgot my notepad that I've been writing all the questions down at my friend Nicole Marjo's house. So I had to Bear Grylls this. I had to improvise and adapt. So, cereal cardboard works a treat. Not only for guitar shims, but also for Q&A Wednesdays. So, yes. Bear Grylls, nothing. Survival expert, you're right, I'm better. Anyway, moving along. Let's not put that to the test, though. Do not put me in the middle of a forest. Okay, so anyway, moving on. Question 1. He's losing his mind. Okay, so question 1. Oh, by the way, Bear Grylls, if you're watching, I didn't just challenge you, so don't think of it as a challenge. So, go away. Anyway, question 1. And breathe. Okay, so question 1 today is Wicked. Okay, so this question not only goes to me, but people of the tube, it comes to you as well. So, let us know in the comments section below after you know the question. Oh my god, my brain is just not there today, is it? So, anyway, question 1 today is, if hostile aliens landed with a guitar duel in mind, which, if they won, would enable them to wipe out humanity, which guitarist would you put up on behalf of us, the humans, and hopefully win? And it has to be live guitar players only. You can't put up Jimi Hendrix, unfortunately. So, just to recap, everybody, because this is a very dramatic question and a very important one. If aliens were to land with diabolical ideas in their head of taking over humankind and enslaving mankind to work in their underground sugar caves like ants, although that'd be ants, ant aliens, why not? But the only way out of it was a guitar duel between their best guitarist and our best guitarist. Who would you put forward? A live guitarist only. Let us know in the comment section below. So, my initial thought reading this question was Buckethead. But then it occurred to me that Buckethead might actually be an alien. So, I had a rethink. So then it came down to a couple of things, and I was like, well, it's like, depending on what the aliens would be like, you know what I mean? Would they want to be kind of wowed, and depending on what their guitarist would be like? I love this question, by the way. So, I think I wouldn't go the shreddy, wowie approach, personally. I think I would pick a guitarist that just has, like, immense feel, and would eventually make the aliens kind of, like, just, like, break down in tears and just be like, it's okay, we'll leave, that is too beautiful. That's the kind of alley I would go down. I wouldn't pick, like, say, Guthrie Govan or Steve Vai to kind of, like, go up there and go, like that kind of thing, because they might be like, you know what I mean? They might not get it being aliens. So, I wouldn't go that route. I would definitely go a more softly catchy monkey approach and pick somebody who could make them weep and make them go, humans deserve to live on this planet. You know what I mean? And let us withdraw our war fleets and death rays, and we will now go back to the Zog Nebula and live in peace, knowing we have heard this piece of music. Yeah. So I think I would go for somebody like, I'm trying to avoid John Frusciante, but I can't. So I would go for somebody like John Frusciante, or somebody like Dave Gilmour, maybe even someone like Eric Gales, if you're thinking like more modern. I think Eric Gales has got Eric Johnson. You know, I think Eric Johnson could stop an intergalactic war with his guitar playing, because it's ridiculously melodic and gorgeous, and it's so upbeat but somber all at the same time. So there's a bit of a dilemma here. This would have to, this would take a board meeting. This would take, a lot of people like round a table smoking, into the wee hours of the morning with lights overhead, trying to discuss which guitarist would be best. But like I said, I'm very torn between. There's quite a lot that I'd pick, you know what I mean? But I do feel the softly approach would be better in this case, like, if aliens were to land with hostile intent in mind, I think something soothing would be better than something kind of barragey. Like, I think something like, I don't know, the intro to Shine On You Crazy Diamond would be better in relation to, say, Soothsayer by Buckethead. You know what I mean? Just because, although Soothsayer is really, really gorgeous, but I think that would be kind of like beating somebody over the head. Whereas I think something melodic and calm and lovely, like Before the Beginning by John Frusciante, or Eric Johnson just improvising, or Dave Gilmour doing whatever, I can't think of examples, but I think that would be a better approach. What do you think, people? I say, let us know in the comments below. Who would you pick and why would you pick them? Like, would you go the shred approach and go go crazy and just say, no, let's just absolutely kind of blow them away and put Buckethead up there and shred their faces off? Or would you go the route I'm thinking of in Softly Softly Catchy Monkey approach, in which case you get a very melodic, calmer, more feel-based. I'm not saying Buckethead or Steve Vai isn't feel-based. I'm just saying there are different levels of feel. Who would you pick and why? What would it be about that guitarist? So I'm really torn. Like, I would love, like, if aliens landed, I'd be like, get John Frusciante to do Before the Beginning, or get Eric Johnson just to play. Eric Johnson doesn't have to play a song for you to be drawn into him. He just plays, and you just like, it's like there's other people like, say, Eric Gales as well. But I'm definitely torn now between, now I really think about it, like, if it's a matter of life and death, like it is, I'm torn between John Frusciante and Eric Johnson at this point in time, just because of just feel. Like I say, there is Eric Gales in there as well, but I kind of want, although I love Eric Gales he's playing, I kind of want more melody. I'm not saying he's not melodic, but I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, there's something in John's melodic playing that's always got me, and Eric Johnson's playing, like, always got me as well. Like, especially his violin-y kind of tone, and his chord uses as well. I think I would pick Eric Johnson. I really do. I think if aliens landed, and Eric Johnson's such a kind of like calm, mellow kind of guy, that I think it would work out really well. So I would pick Eric Johnson to, if aliens landed with hostile intent, trying to wipe out humanity, but they said, we will let you live. I don't know why they would talk like this, but they are for this reason. We will let you live if you put your best guitarist against our best guitarist. And he comes out with like 8 arms and like 8 guitars in each one of them. Or he's actually a guitar himself. He might be a guitar himself with tentacles. We never know. That's my tentacles, everybody. So, but yeah, I think I think I would go, because Eric Johnson's still got the kind of speed and virtuosity of people like Steve Vai. You know what I mean? But he's got the more melodic aspect of things, and he also uses different kind of warmer tonalities, and also kind of like just a heavy melodic sense, just a little bit more so than, say, some other guitarists. Like that, I'm still torn between John, obviously being my hero, but I think Eric Johnson would win this one. I think I'd be like, no, get Eric Johnson up there immediately. Set up his Marshalls and his Fenders, and get him up there to wow the aliens into submission. And I believe he would win. I reckon he'd win the day for us, and then he'd be a hero. But people of the tube, think about this for a second. I'm going to get my cup of tea, because otherwise it'll go cold, and I'm not letting that happen. So, especially if aliens are going to invade, I need to cherish every cup. They might get me. Anyway, but yeah, I would definitely put forward someone like Eric Johnson. That is my decision. People of the tube, let us know in the comment section below. Who would you pick, and why would you pick them? What would it be about the guitarist you would pick that make them think that they could conquer the alien threat that awaits us? But I'm definitely sold on Eric Johnson. I think, like I say, he's got it all. He's got the melodic aspect. He's got the speed. He can wow people. His technique's amazing. His sound is amazing. So I would pick Eric Johnson. That's who I would go for. Like I say, if aliens came to wipe out humankind and they said, you can live if you put your guitarist against ours and win, I would go Eric Johnson. So, people of the tube, comment section below. Which guitarist would you pick? Has to be alive. Can't be dead, unfortunately. Can't be Jimi Hendrix. Can't be Peter Green, unfortunately. Can't be any of those. Because unfortunately they're no longer with us. So the guitarist has to be alive. So I say mine would be Eric Johnson. People of the tube, let us know in the comment section below. Who would you pick and why? What is it about them that makes you think they could defeat the alien threat that awaits us? So yeah, let us know in the comment section below. And moving on now. Okay, so I hope that's the question. Moving on to question 2. Okay, so question 2 is, do you play computer games, and what's your thoughts on the effect that this may or may not have on the number of people who learn guitar, form bands, and keep the music scene alive? Okay, I don't really feel computer games I do play computer games. Yeah, I mean, I've got my kind of I've got like 5 here with me. I have more at home, but I only have my PS4 with me. If I knew I had more space, I'd have bought more consoles and more games, but I didn't. Personally, I don't think there's a massive impact on people who play games who play guitar, because I do feel like, as much as you're dedicated to the guitar, you do have to have something outside it. You know what I mean? If you want the guitar to be your job, I feel you've got to have something outside of it that kind of like takes you away from it for a certain amount of time. Not like, forever or anything like that, but like something you can use to kind of wind down. If you've been playing all day, you can't just keep playing and playing and playing and then kind of like, and you need something to kind of like, to take you away into a different world and breathe. And I think video games are really good for that. I love survival horror games. I've always loved games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. That, they're my favorite games. I adore them to pieces. And although I don't play games as much as I used to, I still love to play them, but not as much as I used to. It's very occasional now, but depending on what it is, obviously, and also getting the time to do so, especially now because where I am, it's kind of like not impossible, but I haven't done it as much. When I was back in England, I would play Resident Evil 2 remake a lot more than I have here. I bought it with me just to kind of like think, but I haven't actually had much time to play it while I've been here, to be honest with you. I've been busy with other things here and there. So, but yeah, I mean, I still will go back to it at some point. But do I think there's a negative aspect to this? Well, no and yes. I mean, the thing is, this is a very, very kind of like this could last a long time, the answer to this question, but I'll try and be as brief as I can. But I think playing computer games doesn't really have any much effect on people. I don't think it ever really has. I mean, obviously certain people are susceptible to certain things in a certain way, but I would say the majority aren't. You know what I mean? I don't think playing games like Grand Theft Auto necessarily breeds a murderer in everybody like some people have claimed in the past. You know what I mean? I think that's a bit silly. I reckon that's a bit far-fetched. I think some people definitely, it kind of unlocks certain parts of their brain which should stay locked up, but it's a very, very minute percentage. It's very much a minority, I feel, that one. So anyway, but thoughts on how it affects people who play guitar? I don't think it really. I mean, the thing is, if you're dedicated to the guitar, and I'm going to do a video on this soon, people of the tube, talking about dedication and something I've kind of like not necessarily learned, but something I believe. I want to do a video on this in depth where I can actually talk kind of for a fairly long while about my beliefs on the guitar and dedication and that kind of thing. So I want to do a video on that very soon, and I will get around to it so soon. It will be within the next, where are we, January? I'll say it'll be probably kind of like, well, end of January now. So February time, mid-February, I want to do a video on kind of like my philosophy and kind of like, the whole dedication thing to guitar. But I mean, like I say, if the thing is, if you're totally dedicated to guitar, I wouldn't really worry about anything else kind of getting in the way. If you know guitar is what you want and what you kind of want to do and you want to pursue, then I would definitely not really worry about anything else. I mean, to me, playing video games, like computer games like Resident Evil and stuff like that, it's kind of like a recreational thing. It's kind of something that I do to kind of like, change the scenery and to wind down and relax, and enjoy. It's kind of like an interactive enjoyment thing. And it's a totally different alien. Why not? Totally different kind of like being, to guitar. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing. And the guitar to me is everything. I'm dedicated to the guitar. No ifs, no buts. Nothing comes in the way of that. If somebody said you can't play Resident Evil 2 ever again, or you can't play guitar again, I'm not going to play Resident Evil 2 ever again. I'm not going to give up guitar for anything. I'm just not. That's who I am. The guitar is such a big part of me. There's no way anything's going to come along and make me go, I'm not going to stop doing that now. I love it too much, and it's too much of a part of me to do it. So if somebody came along and said that ultimatum, it's this or this, I'm going to pick guitar. And if you've got that kind of mindset, I don't think anything else that comes along, like computer games or going to play football on a Sunday or whatever, is kind of an issue, really. Going fishing, I think you need that personally outside of the guitar. If you want music to be your life and your job and your career, I think you need something outside of that. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking of Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden here. Adrian loves fishing outside of Iron Maiden. I think he's released a book last year about talking about fishing and stuff like that. And I think about Dave Murray now, and Dave Murray loves golf, and Jerry Cantrell loves golf, and Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy loves golf, and all these players have little hobbies outside of music that keeps them kind of sane, because guitar and music is their job. They have hobbies. Guitar isn't a hobby to these people, and it's not to me either, and I can guarantee to a lot of people out there it's not a hobby. But so I think you need something like playing video games or going out for walks or riding bikes. Duff McKagan, I remember reading his book, and when Duff McKagan got clean after his pancreas blew up, he found mountain biking was his thing. He started biking, and all of a sudden it made him very happy. So I think something like playing computer games is a good thing. You know what I mean? I think it's a good kind of thing, as long as it's not distracting you too far, and as long as it's kind of like not taking all the time up in your day. In all fairness, you shouldn't be playing video games all day anyway. I don't think it's a very healthy thing to be kind of staring at a screen all day, especially if your guitar's sat in the corner. But I think it's a good thing. I reckon playing computer games is a good thing. It's good for your mind as well. Especially if you're playing games that require problem solving or figuring things out, not just running and gunning games. Although they're cool as well. They're good fun. But I think games that challenge your mind are a little bit kind of more stimulating, so to say. But I don't think there's much effect on it. What I will say though, and one thing that bothers me immensely about video games is the aspect of instant gratification. Like, for instance, if you're on a computer game where you can kind of level your character up and up and up and up and up till basically your character is invulnerable, and no matter what anybody does, you can't be beat because you have infinite ammo on a very, very powerful weapon. So no matter what you do, you can never fail at it. You know what I mean? You've got to a point where you can never fail at it. That worries me, because the guitar, and like I say, I'll go into detail. I'm going to have to stop in a minute and move on to question 3, because there's quite a bit to go left on this A&Q. But the guitar isn't an instant gratification thing. The guitar is one of those things that instant gratification doesn't exist. It takes time, and it takes you to apply yourself and be dedicated to, and it takes sacrifice as well. There's a lot of things I feel you have to sacrifice to be amazing at guitar. Time being one of them. You really have to put the time in and effort. You can't be kind of going, I'll just do this for 5 minutes once a week. It's not going to happen. You're not going to progress. And the guitar is such a perishable skill. One thing, the thing you learnt last week, if you don't practice it, you won't know the next week or in 3 days. Depending on what you do recreationally. For instance, I've experienced kind of things where I can teach somebody something on guitar, and then if they don't apply it, they'll forget it, and then I have to teach them it again. And that from a guitar guide standpoint, like what I am sometimes, that gets really upsetting for me. Because when I was learning to play guitar, I didn't have anybody to push me. I had myself. Like a lot of self-taught guitarists, we only have ourselves to do it. I had support definitely from my family and well, friends. Yeah, kind of when I was learning, but I wouldn't really class them as friends now. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, Dave. Anyway, but I only had myself to rely on, so it was a case of when I wanted to do something on guitar and I couldn't do it, no one was going to sit there and tell me, do it again, do it again, do it again. I had to do that myself, and there's an inner discipline that I think you have to follow of like, right, I'm not going to stop doing this until I do it. And some of the things I can do on guitar took me about 3 years to master. You know what I mean? I can teach these things now to people in maybe 10, 15 minutes. It might take them a year to master. It might take them a month to master. But I can teach them how to do it in 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Because I now know it. But it took me 3 years to get it. You know what I mean? Because, again, no one in my family circle could play the guitar to the level I wanted. So I had to learn it on my own from watching and just kind of observing. So it was one of those things. And I think that discipline, that inner discipline we have to do that, is so important, and it's just should be the bedrock of anybody want playing guitar. Is dedication, total dedication to the guitar and nothing else. But that's me. That's my. This to me is everything. Bar none. I mean, I am this. This is me. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in doing anything else because I've applied myself to this for 18 years, and I love it too much, and I'll be damned. To get this off me, you'd have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands, and then you'd have trouble. So there's no way I could just kind of go, I want to be amazing at guitar, and then just kind of go, oh, but it's too hard, I won't bother. You know what I mean? It's of course it's hard. Anything worth doing is hard work. You know what I mean? It's kind of an old cliche line, but it's so true, especially with the guitar. But anyway, I'm going to have to move on from this because otherwise I'll talk for hours, and I've still got quite a bit to get through on this A&Q, and I don't want to talk forever on that because I want to do a video solely on that at some point in February, in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'll get to that. But talking about my philosophy and also where the dedication comes from and why you should be dedicating also certain other things as well as that, why and sacrifice. I believe totally with the guitar, if you want to be good at it, you have to sacrifice a lot of stuff. Not necessarily everything, but I think you've got to, you've got to give up a fair bit. I think, and I think that's, and at the end of the day, if this is what you want to do, it's worth it. I mean, I've given up a lot, and that's fine by me because I love what I do. And I would do it again. I haven't hurt anybody in the process of doing that. Definitely not. And that's when it become a problem. Luckily, I haven't done that. But you do. I reckon there is a lot of self-sacrifice. I mean, I remember Lemmy talking about this and talking about how to be good with music, and he says like, you have to give up a lot of stuff to be good at it. You've got to be dedicated to it. If you're not dedicated, if there's a slight bit of doubt in your mind that, oh, I don't know about this, and you can kind of forget it. You really need to be totally dedicated to it, totally 100%. This is what I'm doing, this is what I am, no ifs, no buts. And that's where I am all the time. I wake up thinking about the guitar, I go to sleep thinking about the guitar, and I dream about guitar and music. That's all I do, and that's all I've done for 18 years. I've played the guitar every day for 18 years, apart from 1 week when I went on holiday to France and I couldn't bring my guitars. Not so much this time, haha. But yeah, so out of those 18 years I haven't played guitar for like 7 days, but that was torture. But then actually, I found a guitar shop and I would go in there and try guitars. So technically, probably play guitar every day for 18 years, bar maybe 3 days. Anyway, but so I don't really think games have too much of an effect on people. I do worry about the influence of instant gratification with games. Like I say, the whole concept of kind of like, you push a couple of buttons or you get an amount of points and all of a sudden you've got this skill. You've just bought that skill. All of a sudden you're a master sniper, or you've got this weapon that's extremely powerful, or you're a puzzle-solving king. All of a sudden, it's instant gratification, but you haven't really earned it. You basically just kind of got it quickly through that kind of thing, and that bothers me massively. That worries me. But other than that, no. I mean, I play computer games. I love playing computer games. I love survival horror games like Resident Evil, Silent Hill. I love the ambience. I love the music. I love the moods. I love everything about them. I've always loved them. I always have. I remember my brother borrowing Resident Evil for the first time and being totally drawn into the music and the ambience and the whole concept of that game. I was just in love with it from the get-go, and I'm never not going to be in love with Resident Evils, and Silent Hills. There's never going to be a point that that's never going to happen, But yeah. So anyway, like I say, I'm not going to go too much further on that at this point in time. I will do a video on the whole dedication thing at some point. But like I say, do I think computer games have an effect? Not really, but kind of. There is a negative, but there is a positive. But you have to find balance. You know what I mean? But I'm going to move on now to question 3. So I hope it's actually a question okay. I don't feel that's the best answer. Like I said, I want to talk more, but I will run out of time if I keep talking, because I will just talk and talk and talk and talk. So I'm going to move on to question 3 now. But like I said, I will come back to that question in my dedication and philosophy video that I'm going to do in about 2 or 3 weeks. On the guitar, and we will touch on computer games again in there, because I do feel there's something in there that kind of not worrying, but can be a little dangerous if not kind of kept in checks, let's say. But anyway, I'll talk about that more in about a couple of weeks. But anyway, so I'm gonna move on to question 3 now, people tube. So question 3 is, what do you think of the 20-watt Silver Jubilee, and when buying a new amp cab, what should you watch out for? And would it be better just to buy a new cab instead of second-hand? Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What do I think of a 20-watt Silver Jubilee? Great amp. Awesome amp. A friend of mine once bought one round for me to try, and I loved it. Really, really cool. I prefer the look of the big one, like the full-size Jubilee, but the small little 20-watt, yeah, wicked. Absolutely amazing. Great amp. Yeah, I would recommend it. If you're thinking of getting one, get it. Trust me, you'll love it. Amazing amps. So let's move on to the second part of your question, which was when buying cabs, what should you watch? When buying second-hand cabs, what should you watch out for, and would it be better to buy new? So when buying second-hand cabs, you want to make sure the speakers haven't been replaced, and if they have been replaced, you need to make sure the ohms match up. The ohm is everything on a cab, and also the wattage. You don't want to be getting like a 25-watt speaker if you're going to run a 100-watt Marshall Plexi into it. Especially if you're going to gun it, because it'll just blow the speaker, it'll fry it, and it won't do the amp much good either. So you have to be aware of ohm, you have to be aware of wattage, you have to be aware of what speakers are in it, because certain speakers won't give you the sound you want. For instance, I don't like the sound really of kind of like the Fender speakers. You know what I mean? I don't mind the one that's in my Tweed amp here, and I don't mind the Eminence speaker that's in the Tube Scream amp, but I do feel that these 2 amps would sound better for me with Celestians. So at some point, with my little Tweedy Fender here, I am going to get a Celestian speaker and put it in there, and I think that will make it a lot happier for me. But at this point in time, it can stay with the stock Fender one it's got. But yeah, you've got to be aware of that. Also be aware of kind of like the wiring. You know what I mean? If you're going to buy a cab, you have to be aware that the wires are okay. You don't want to find that the wires inside are taped together with electrical tape or gaffer tape, and that's what's making it work. It wants to be good wiring. So if you're buying a 212, 412, 112 cab, and it says closed back so you can't see inside, you want to take the back off and inspect the wiring before you buy it. You don't want to be just buying it sight on scene kind of thing, because you don't know what you're getting. Speakers are super important. Like I say, you want to do a bit of research into speakers and kind of what you want speaker wise. Like I say, I always know that if it's got Celestion 75-watt G12 75s in it, I'm a happy bunny. Celestion speakers full stop for me, really. Apart from the greenbacks. I'm not a big greenback fan. They're not my favourite speaker. Vintage 30s are okay, but I say the 75 watts are my favourite. So just be aware of speakers. Why, wiring, ohms, definitely ohm. Ohm is really important. Speaker wattage, that's really important as well. Condition as well. You really want to be able to inspect the cones of the speakers. You don't want to be buying like an amp with torn speaker cones or like a hole in one that's just going to get worse and worse and worse the more you play for it. So you want to inspect the speaker cone as well. Inspect the speakers. Are they in good condition? Have they been battered and beaten? Is the cabinet in good shape? Is it a bit rickety? Is it wonky? There's quite a lot. It's not too dissimilar to buying a guitar. You want to make sure it all works the way it should before you actually give the money over. So cabs are no different with that one. You want to be aware of, like I say, all the things I've just mentioned. But I say mainly kind of wattage and ohmage. They're the keys really, because like I say, you don't want to be buying an amp that's got lower wattage to the amp you're going to run into it. Because it'll just blow it. And also you don't want your amp to say your amp is a 16 or 8 ohm only. You know what I mean? Say your back of your amp says 16 or 8 ohm. My orange CL120 is either 16 or 8 ohm. You can't do 4 ohm through the CR. So well, not mine anyway. It says no on the back. If I got a cab and ran it at 4 ohm, the amp would probably blow. It'd probably fry. So it would fry. It wouldn't be very good for it at all. So I would say you got to be aware of that. You got to be aware of what your amp, what you're going to run into the cab is its output. Wattage and ohmage, and you need to know what the cab you're going to run it into matches. And in all fairness, it's always, I've gone by the rule of thumb of if your cabinet, like for instance, my JCM 900 cab here is 300 and something odd watts, because it's 4 75 watt speakers. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't do the math because I'm stupid. But I know for a fact that I can run 100 watt head into that cab, no problems. And I can then split it into stereo if I wanted to. So I could have one amp going into the left 2 speakers and one amp going into the right 2 speakers, both 100 watts. And I know that both sides can take the power. Whereas if I had, say, something else, like, say, a 100 watt Marshall cab, like an AX, Marshall AX cab, like a 1960s AX cab, which is a checkerboard one with 25 watt. Yeah, 25 watt Celestians. So you got 4 25 watt speakers, 100 watts, 16 ohm cab. I know for a fact if I kind of like ran a powerfuler amp, say, I don't know, 200 watt Marshall Major into it and gunned it, I know that cab would fry. It would blow the speakers. You know what I mean? It would absolutely blow the speakers because it'd be too powerful. You always want, the rule of thumb is this is what I was told and this is what I go by, is, and this has always worked for me, is you want your cabinet to be powerfuler than your head. So if you've got a 350 watt cab and a 100 watt head, cool. If you've got a 100 watt cab and a 350 watt head, not so cool. You know what I mean? That's the kind of way I see that. So yeah, be that for what it may. But like I say, the things I kind of mentioned there, the things you kind of want to watch out for, just be aware of those. Like I say, main issues is wattage and ohm. You know what I mean? And also, wiring as well, because, and condition. The speaker's in good condition. There's only rips in the cones. Is the cabinet in good condition? Does it all sound good? Does it all work? Is it does it rattle? What's going on? So all those things. So you also ask, is it better to buy new? Not necessarily. You know what I mean? I've always, my Marshall cab here, my JCM 900, and the other cabs I have, apart from my 2 MG cabs, are all second-hand cabs. And I say my JCM 900 cab, I've had that since maybe 2010, maybe 2011. I forget exactly when I got this cab. But it was second-hand from Old Hat Guitars. I bought it from Old Hat. And I still wish I had the B cab. I can't believe I sold my B cab. I'm such an idiot. But when I bought that, it was in a bit better condition than it is now. The rips in the Tolex, that's from me smashing guitars into the thing. And it's been gigged a lot. I've gigged this cab so much, and I love it to bits. And to be honest with you, I think this is my magic cab. This Marshall here is my magic cab, and it would take a lot for me to get rid of that. It would take a lot for me to get rid of it. I would get rid of a lot of other things before that cab went anywhere. And It's funny actually. I look at it every now and again. I just got it then. Every now and again, I look at that cab and I think, is that mine? It much in the same way I look at some of my Osborne guitars and my guitars in general sometimes, or my pedal board or some of my other stuff. I'm like, is that mine? Do I deserve that? You know, it's one of those moments, and that 900 cab is one of those moments where I'm like thinking, I love it so much, and it sounds so good. Like it's just the sound I want, and every amp I ever plug into it just works, and I just love that. So anyway, but there's no real issue buying new or second hand, as long as the second hand cab, as long as you look for those things in a second cab and it's in pretty good nick. You know, as long as it works, you know, it's worth it. Buying new doesn't necessarily always work out. You know what I mean? Sometimes newer speakers won't give you the sound they want. I mean, I don't really like the sound of new speakers. It's like It's like the same thing. I don't like the sound of new guitar strings. I like worn-in, battered and beaten guitar strings that are really, really dark sounding. I like them a lot more than new. I don't like new guitar strings. Same thing with speakers. I don't like new speakers. You know, I like it when speakers are a bit more broken in or a bit warmer and a bit nicer sounding. You know, I like that 10 times more than the brightness of a new speaker and the more harsh, quick response that they have. So bear that in mind. So buying new might not necessarily be the thing you want. I mean, personally, I would be hesitant to buy a new cab because, like I said, because I'm not a big fan of new speakers. I would much rather look for like a second-hand 900 cab. In all fairness, I really want another 900 cab. I want an angled 900 cab, so I've got two, just because I'm greedy, basically. But the reason I want another 900 angled cab is because I feel the angled cab is where... I had the 900B cab, and I loved that. And in all fairness, I shouldn't have sold it, but I did. But as much as I love the B cab, the A cab is more me. They sound different. They do sound different, and I'll do a video on that one day. I probably have to be when I go back to England though, because I don't have a B cab here. But they do sound different. You know, B cabs, straight cabs sound different to angled cabs. Anyway, but yeah, just be aware of those things. You know, even with new cabs, be aware of speaker, ohm, you know, wattage, you know, stuff like that. You know, you've got to be aware of those things. You don't want to kill the cab or your amp in the process of kind of playing. You know, you just want it to work, set it, forget it, kind of thing, really. So I hope that's answered your question. I'm going to have to move on to question 4, because question 4's got 3 bits to it, and if I'm not careful, I will run out of time and battery by the looks of it as well. So yeah, so bear those things in mind, and just see what you think. People of the tube, if there's anything else that I've forgotten to mention about buying a cab, let us know in the comment section below, please. In the comment section, let us know. Okay, so gonna move on to the final question today. Question 4. So question 4 today is, when you are playing solo. Now, I don't know if this means a guitar solo or on my own. It wasn't specified in the question, so I do apologise. So I'm going to try and answer both. So when you're playing solo, and I'm guessing it's guitar solo. When you are playing solo, are you just playing in one key, or are you moving key with the chords? Okay, so to me, that sounds like it's just a guitar solo. So when I'm playing a guitar solo, yeah, I'm in one key. I don't move key. Occasionally I will, but not very often. You know, invariably if the song's in A minor, I'll play in A minor. You know what I mean? And that's all I'll do. Because that's all I feel I need to do. You know, I don't need to move. You know, it's cool to move. You know, if the song goes E minor, G major, F major, it's cool to go from A minor pentatonic to E minor pentatonic relative minor of G major, and then to D minor pentatonic relative minor of F major. But I don't necessarily like the tonality of it, and sometimes I don't like the melodies that come out of it. I find it kind of gets a bit convoluted and a bit messy and a bit and it doesn't really appeal to me as much as sticking to one key and keeping it simple and melodic as best I can. So I am definitely sticking to one key most of the time. You know, I would say 98% of the time I just stick to one key. I find out what, you know, the intro jam today, for instance, what was that in? E minor. For that entire E minor, for the entire intro jam, I just stuck to E minor. You know, it's just, that's all it was. You know, just moving up and down the neck through positions. You know, mainly pentatonics. You know, that's all it is. That's all it needs to be. You know, I don't feel the need to, because it went from E minor to C, E minor to C, and then it went C, D, E. I could have moved to A minor when it changed to C, and Obviously, there will be some notes that I played that come out of the key of A, will come out of A minor pentatonic and also C major as I'm playing them. But then we're diving down a rabbit hole here, and it's getting a bit convoluted as it is trying to explain this. But I definitely kind of stick to one key. You know, I in my head, I just go, it's in E. You know what I mean? If I start to think about kind of like, right, okay, so the chord change is coming in a minute, and it's going to C, so I can use A minor pentatonic now. It takes me out of the moment. You know what I mean? It takes me out of it totally, and all of a sudden I'm just kind of like, you know, thinking about the theoretical side of it instead of actually getting lost in the musical side of it and the kind of like, you know, the spaced out side of it, which is what I want to be. I don't want to be stuck on going, okay, so this next chord is a C, so I could use this. I don't want to be that. I just don't want that. I just don't like it. So you know, at this point in time, that's where I am. So I just stick to one key. So intro jam, E minor, I'm going for E minor. You know, I'm quite impressed I remembered the chords, actually, to be honest. I normally don't remember them, but I think it's because it's really... I was going for kind of something filmy, like a film soundtrack with today's intro. I woke up with this idea in my head of like, I want to do kind of like a film soundtracky ambient kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like with really washed out reverb guitar solo in the background. That was I woke up with that today in my head, and I was like, that's what I've got to do. That's what I've got to do. That's what music wants me to do today. So that's what I did. That's what I did. So I think I can remember it because it's still very fresh. I'll probably have forgotten it by 5 o'clock tonight. But anyway, so yeah, so when I'm playing through a chord progression, I stick to one key, unless the song changes key, in which case obviously I will move. I remember when in Duke's Deluder we used to cover Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. And the chords to that are B minor, A major, and then E major. And when you go to the E major, you need to switch to C minor. I had to switch to C minor pentatonic, otherwise it wouldn't fit. You know, so I came up with a guitar solo that kind of, for the first 2 chords, B and A, went through B minor pentatonic. And when it went to the E major, it switched to C minor. And it was really, really cool, and it added this really cool melodic aspect to it, and it really worked for that song really well. But I don't really like doing it, to be honest with you. It's cool, it really is cool, and I enjoy it when I have to. But like I say, most of the time it takes me out of the moment, and I don't like anything that does that. It really annoys me. I just like to be able to just kind of close my eyes or stare off into the distance with a 1,000-yard stare and just get lost in it and just forget the world and everything and just go. Let it take me away, and that's all I want. And changing key and thinking about changing key always kind of doesn't get in the way, but it just kind of overcomplicates things and convolutes things, and I like to say muddies the waters. I get a bit lost in it. So that's why I stick to one key. So moving on to part 2 of question 4 is or part B. Should we call it B or 2? I don't know. 2 might be confusing for me because it's numbers. Anyway, so question 4 part 2 is, will you ever have a guitar auction for your YouTube followers? Weird you say that, because I have thought about that, yes, but obviously I can't do that at this point in time because the guitars that I have here are ones I'm keeping for the rest of my life. So the guitars I have in England, I have thought about this. There's quite a few guitars I have at home in England where I'm like, I would love that to go to somebody, you know what I mean, who's going to love it, you know, and use it. Because, like I say, I keep thinking about my guitars at home in the UK and keep thinking like they're just sat there not being played. And it breaks my heart, to be honest with you. Obviously, when I go back to England, I will play them. And there's certain guitars back at home in England that I will never get rid of, ever. And I can't wait to see them again. You know what I mean? I'm so looking forward to that moment where I go home and visit home and just see my guitars, my RTL, my Epiphone, my Lemon Drop, my Black Les Paul Epiphone, you know, my Washburn, my first ever guitar, you know, my amps and my pedals, you know, the amps that I didn't bring, you know. So it's really heartwarming to me. I love that concept. So, you know, but whatever the guitar auction follows, yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. But one of the things I would love to do more than a guitar auction is a meet and greet kind of thing. That is something I've always wanted to do. I'd love to meet you lot in person. I think it'd be so cool. But the whole guitar auction thing, yeah, I mean, At this point in time, I don't have the ability to do that. There's quite a lot of kind of giveaway stuff I want to do. I've got a lot of Tone City pedals, which unfortunately I couldn't bring with me at home, but I want to do giveaways with. But I will do that, and I promise to you, people of the tube, I promise to you, it won't be until next year now, and it'll probably be mid next year now, but I will be doing a massive, massive giveaway of pedals next year. I promise you that. So it'll probably be around May time next year. I will be doing a huge giveaway of pedals. I promise you, I will do that. And I've been wanting to do something like that for a long time. I want to give you all something back for supporting me here, because you all mean the world to me, and your support means the world to me. So I'd love to do that. So the guitar auction thing would definitely be cool. But I have a problem with selling them. I would have a problem with selling them. I mean, I would have to be very... I don't know. But I have to think about this, of what guitars it would have to be, because I've got a lot of emotional attachment to quite a lot of guitars. So anyway. But yeah, we'll get there at some point. I mean, that's a cool idea, and I have thought about doing that, and I have thought about this kind of thing. So maybe, hopefully at some point, that'll become a reality, and hopefully my idea of doing a meet and greet will one day become a reality. I love that. It'd be so cool. So I hope that's the question. Going to move on to the final part of question 4, which is, will you ever do a top 5 licks video? Now, I've never thought about that. I have never thought about that video, and that's a really cool idea. So, yes, I will do, at some point, a top 5 licks video. Like, my favourite things. But it's going to take me a while to figure out what those top 5 are going to be. And to narrow it down to 5 is going to be difficult. So, but yeah, I will do, at some point, I will do a top 5 licks video, because I think that'd be really cool. And I've never thought about doing that, so that is absolutely wicked. I will do that at some point, definitely, yes. So there we go, people tube. The Frosties box did the... Frosties? Yeah, it's Frosties. Tony the Tiger, let's know that might be copyright. So anyway, yeah. A&Q Wednesday. It's brilliant. Ha-ha! See? No copyright breach there, Tony. Ha-ha! Anyway, moving along. So, watch it, Kellogg's. Is there anything I need to say? No, there isn't. So, Pit of a Tube, if you want to submit a question for A&Q Wednesday, description box below has an email link. Email me there. And, and as ever, I hope this was okay. As usual, I think I've ruined this. Like I say, there are things I want to expand on, especially for question 2, that I will do in the future. Like I say, stuff like pedal giveaways and stuff like that. I will talk about that. That will definitely happen next year. It can't happen this year, unfortunately. What am I talking about next year? It's this year now, you fool. It will happen this year. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. Sometimes my brain. Moving. So yeah, it will happen this year. It'll happen about May, June, July time. It'll be summertime. Anyway, I'll do a big summer giveaway. There we go. But I got it right eventually. Ignore past Dave, listen to present Dave, and go, yes, giveaway will happen. And I say meet and greet would be well cool at some point, but I just don't know when or how I can do that. But anyway, maybe because I'd love to do like a guitar kaniki thing, or like a full day thing. I don't know. I mean, one day. We'll see. Okay, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope that's the questions okay, and I will see you again very soon for another vid. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Like I say, if you want to submit a question, email is in the description box below, as well as the questions and timestamps. And hope you enjoyed this vid, and I will see you again very soon for another one. Got a really cool fuzz pedal to show you on Friday, and I'm actually going to be demoing it at my friend Marshall and Nicole's house. I won't be demoing it here, because it's Nicole's pedal, and I'm going to demo it there for a bit of change of scenery, and just for a bit of a thing. And I'm also going to get them to play through it as well. They don't know this yet, but I'm going to get them to play through the fuzz as well, and we're going to use their amps as well. I'm going to take my pedal board and stuff like that, but we're going to use their amps and go from there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I'll see you again on Friday for that fuzz pedal review. And have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and see you again. Goodbye now. Thank you so much for watching. Ha ha!